Okay, so you're a well-renowned sketch artist and have even made sketches of the U.S. Supreme Court while in session, and I can see that some of your artwork does reflect your talent and your abilities. Can you give me some background about who you are as a sketch artist?
I started with the Washington Post, probably 1979, and I worked for them for a year or more, and then CNN went online, and they called the Washington Post and said, "Do you know a sketch artist?" And the Post gave them my name, and after that, I worked for CNN for about 4 years until my husband was transferred out of town. And during that time, I did the Supreme Court and the Senate, and trials, all the time trials. The biggest one was probably the John Hinckley trial.
I noticed the work on the wall. Would you like to show me some of the work to explain what it is?
Well, this is the Supreme Court, and we sat over to the side, and they argue for an hour. Each side gets half an hour, and so we sat and we would draw for their arguments. This was a Senate, and although I sat in the upper right-hand corner, I mentally brought myself around, and just for variety, after you've done 40 or 50 drawings to the Senate, you want variety. So I just switched the point of view a little bit. And then when my husband was being transferred, I did some drawings just sort of from memory. And this was the rotunda of the Capitol. And this is the round room underneath it. And an overview of the Senate. And up above is the view of the Supreme Court. And I'm pleased with that because one time we were invited, just the artists were taken behind the bench. And so we could see how their desk was set up and the difference of the chairs.
So you have been privileged to see an angle of the court that nobody routinely sees.
Oh, yes.
Who are these? Name some of these justices that are here.
Well, Thurgood Marshall and, Justice Powell and Justice White and...
What court is this? What?
That's the Supreme Court.
I mean, who was the Chief Justice at the time? Or what year?
It was in the 80s.
Okay. Very interesting. Now, as a sketch artist, you went to the Yavapai County Court building to sit in on Janet's case, and you were doing your usual work, and then you had a misfortune encounter with the judge or the attorneys there. What happened?
Well, Jan had been accused of mistreating elder abuse of this man, and this man's daughter, that had been put out for adoption years ago, was up there now trying to get the spoil. And I was sketching her and her husband as viewers, as, onlookers in the room, and they took exception to that. Embarrassed, who knows? So they asked the victim representative of the court to talk to their attorney and say, stop this woman from drawing us. And then her attorney went to the judge and said, we don't want her drawing. And originally the judge was going to stop me drawing completely. And Jan's attorney said, well, wait a minute. She has the right to be in here and a right to draw. So then the judge temporized and said, well, she could draw anybody that's within the courtroom active court area itself, but she can't draw any of the viewers. And I had never come across that before, because I worked in trials and I'd drawn some of the onlookers, the Black Panthers, and when they were in the courtroom, or people that were upset when the verdict came down. Never been restricted on what I was doing. And all of a sudden, this judge just decided that he knew better than the state law, and he restricted my work. Well, I was kind of upset about that, so I called an attorney that is supposed to help people that work for the news media or whatever. And he said, no, there's no reason you couldn't draw anyone in the court. And so then I went to Channel 12 and said, this is what happened.
What network was Channel 12?
NBC, local NBC station. And I said, this is what happened. He tried to restrict what I could do. And the news people there said, he can't do that, but let us talk to our attorney. So that evening, they did a short thing on TV about the fact that there are no laws in the state of Arizona restricting what I draw in the courtroom. There are some restrictions on cameras, but those are very limited times. But there are no restrictions, or should be no restrictions, on drawing in the courtroom.